I'm Mark, and today's project we're going to be building a bench using no screws, just glues, some biscuits, and dowels. And I'm going to leave the dowels exposed just to make it different. Most people just cut them off and stain right over them and hide them, but I thought I'd do something a little different. I got a metal detector that I use to check for nails and stuff when I'm using my sawmill before we put a log in there. And this bench is built the traditional way. It's got screws. It's also glued as well. But this bench has no screws or nails in it whatsoever. You can see, all held together. Well, let's get started. Well, this is the last of my pair. I've got some scraps that I'm dealing with, making a few benches. And I'm going to join this one together with using no screws, no nails or anything, because it's all going to be wood. And I could use dowels to put it together, and I am going to use dowels on some of the other sections just for looks. Well, let's get this glued together. I got it glued up. We'll work on the sides next. Alright, next we're going to lay out that V for the bottom of the sides. I just use the drop from the other one. I'll lay it out and just trace it and just cut it with a skill saw. This is just some scrap lumber I have. It's 1 3/4 wide, and the top I'm going to be using is only 1 1/4. This top over here is the same thickness. This is a hickory. There's a hickory top on that one and a pine bottom. Alright, I'm still going to use my kreg tool to drill and screw it together. See, but what I'm going to do is after I get it together and the glue dries, I'm going to come back and take the screw out and drill out the hole into the other part and then put a dowel in. It's kind of a cheating way to put a dowel in. Ready to assemble. I've got it dry fitted. Still going to use biscuits. See, just lay out the pattern so that it matches, and we'll screw it together, glue it and screw it together, and then let it dry for a day, and then tomorrow we'll come back and drill, take the screws out and put in dowels. Alright, the next thing we want to do now that the glue is dried is extract screws. And then we'll drill this out. I like to do one at a time. Put a little glue on the dowel. And we'll bump it in till it sticks out the bottom. We'll do the stretcher beam. Again, I do one at a time just to give a little more strength during the process. Alright, we got all the dowels in. You can see. Now the ones here on top, I'll take the saw and trim them off. Special saw, it's flat on one side, the teeth are set up only and not down. I could trim them all off, which is pretty much what everybody else does, but I try to make something different. That's why this is, the top's made out of pear. How many benches do you know is made out of pear? So I'm going to take the little dowels after I sand everything, and I'll stain that little dowel different color than the top. And then the ones here on the side, I'm going to leave them sticking out just like that and stain it a different color, just to make it unique. So there's no screws left in this. We will check it with a metal detector, prove it a little later, and compare. Alright, now that the glue's dry, I'm going to stain it I'm going to stain the pins only with a dark color, carefully, and then we'll come back and stain. Alright, next I'm going to carefully stain just the dowel. Well, for the top board, I'm going to use an Itch Witch pine stain. It's real close to the same natural color of the wood, but it will really bring it out. And we just want to be real careful around where our dowels are. You can see how it just brings out the beauty of that wood. For the bottom, the legs, I'm using a special walnut. It's a 224. It's a darker color than the top. So this will be 3 different colors. And I may have to give it 2 applications to get it the richness that I want it to look. This is the finished product. You can see the dowels exposed at different angles. Turned out real well. I used 2 coats of varnish. Appreciate y'all watching.